to, work on was trying to create a subcommittee of BIPOC firm owners, which is Black, Indigenous, people of color that are certified as a minority-owned businesses through the SDO, and be able to bring them together under the umbrella of the NOMA, National Organization of Minority Architects chapter, as a subcommittee. And so one of the intentions of creating that subcommittee is that there was kind of a need and a longing for minority-owned design businesses to come together and have a space where they can talk about the industry, some of the challenges and obstacles they have in regards to contracting with state agency. So our meetings are once a month. They are, it's kind of informal, but with the intention of, as a collective, how do we bring kind of awareness to state agencies in regarding to putting forward an aspiration of dealing with or moving forward with this concept of equitable procurement. So equitable procurement, we defined it as where there is a contracting opportunities and partnership opportunities that feels equal and not necessarily unequal in regards to contract money, in regards to roles and responsibility. We had felt, practicing in the business for many years, a sense of not having an opportunity to really engage with the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. So with that, we had initially contacted, Charles, Susan, and DCAMM, Simone, to see if they were willing to kind of hear, kind of some of our concerns. And so the subcommittee, as you can see, some of the names here, which are some probably applicants that you have seen in front of you, Moody Nolan, Dream Collaborative, Stahl and Lee, Studio NA, Flow Design, Social Impact Collective. These are, I'm literally not representing all of them. I'm representing kind of the common voice of what brought us together. And that presentation of having us together occurred on April 26th. And our subcommittee is made up of 12 different architecture firms. We have a variety of portfolio in these 27 kind of sectors in regards to our portfolio and professional experience. One of the things that we were kind of trying to comprehend and understand is, why were the minority-owned design firms not having contract opportunities, specifically with DCAMM? We were trying to understand what was the reason behind it. So what we began to do was to actually look at the public reports that you can access through the DCAMM Supply Diversity, the Affirmative Marketing Program for Design Construction annual reports. We are looking specifically at design, not necessarily construction, and we're looking specifically at the category of minority business design firms. One of the things that we were kind of concerned about was that we can literally count the minority design firms, within like two hands. And we were afraid that over the years, because of lack of stable, large type projects, that we would diminish our numbers and quantity of prime firm owners in the design field in the state of Massachusetts. So what we did is we looked at the comparable in the last 3 years of the annual report, specifically for this slide from 2022 to 2023. We saw that, even though the MWB total participation has increased by 0.9%, the minority business participation has actually decreased 1.1 since 2022, and has not really met the 6.6 enhanced target goal either for both years. The other, in regards to design and construction awards, we looked at that although the minority women business design firms share the total award increase from 25.1% in 2022 to 47.2% in 2023, which is great. It's a great increase. We also noticed that in 2023, the majority of awards, including minority women business firms, were given as prime awards, increasing from 42% in 2022 to 67% in 2023. In regards to firms receiving payments, while contracting dollars may be increasing, the number of minority women business firms getting opportunities as prime has decreased for the last 3 years. So one of the concerns that we had is, how do we begin to reframe this relationship of looking at minority-owned firms solely as subs, but to let the public know that minority business firms can actually act as prime to the projects, that are being made available through DCAMM. So the number of MBE firms receiving payments as both primes or sub has actually declined for the last 3 years. The number of MWB firms receiving prime contracts decreased 10% between 2022 and 2023. And only 13% of MWB firms receiving payments in 2023 were the prime. So I think what it's important is, because I said on your seat, you do get these kind of annual reports, but you don't really have the opportunity to see how did you do at the end of the year when you've selected these design firms, or also to evaluate whether there has been an increase in providing these contract opportunities or decrease. And so, this was kind of really important information to be able to share with you. In regards to payments for legacy design projects, we did a comparison between 2022 and 2023. There was only one minority business design firm that received payments on legacy design projects as prime for 2022 and 2023. There was only one. And 2 MBE firms received payments on legacy design projects as a sub. So when you're a sub-consultant, 2 of them received, and the total payments made to an MBE sub-consultant was only $6,722. For 2022 and 2023, there has not been an MBE architecture or design firm receiving payments on AMP 2020 design projects as a prime. In 2023, only 2 WBE firms received payments as a prime. The net total for all prime payments in 2023 was $14,983,797. So WBE architecture and design firms as prime only received 4.5% of the net total of prime payments. And between 2022 and 2023, the number of AMP 2020 projects with MBE or WBE architecture design sub-consultants has increased from 6 to 20, while the net compensation paid to MBE or WBE designer sub-consultants has decreased from $550,000 approximately to $416,000. That's a 25% decrease. In regards to the design project awards, in 2022 and 2023, no MBE design firm was awarded a design project as prime. 3 WBE firms received a prime award in 2023. There is an increase from 1 WBE awarded as prime in 2022. Out of 9 MBE WBE firms awarded sub-consultant contracts, this is now as a sub-consultant, Studio Luz, which is a firm that I'm a principal of, and I thought it was important to kind of show an actual example. We were the only MBE firm awarded as a sub-consultant in 2022 and 2023. 60% of MBE WBE sub-consulting contracts were actually awarded to landscape architecture firms. So in regards to the 2023 disparity study that is, it's noted on the report that it's going to happen. We wanted to make sure that we are involved or we can facilitate or help if there's going to be any kind of systematic change, that we are a resource to you, because we're actually living and experiencing the process. And then regards to actionable goals, Susan mentioned that there are no numeric goals for design workforce, only reporting. So this is a question to ask, should there actually be mandated goals for design firms to ensure that it does not decline, but that it actually increases, and that one is really aware that we are here, we're just not getting the actual contract, being selected for contracting. So in regards to compliance participation on requirements based on project types, it's across both programs, the Legacy and AMP 2020, goals may be reduced or waived by DCAMM on individual projects prior for bidding based on scope of work, size, as Susan already mentioned. So it's not kind of a application to all. There are certain kind of, waivers that can occur. And it's also our understanding that currently only large capital projects have compliance participation required by law, while smaller projects such as community or state colleges do not. So this is just an observation that in the fall of 2024, 58% of all community college students in Massachusetts identified as non-white. The largest demographics of community college students are African American and Latino. And at state universities, in fall of 2024, enrollment data showed that 30% of the students were minorities. And so the majority of the work being done in spaces that serves minority students are not being done by firm representatives of the diversity attending these institutions. So that was kind of another type of observation. And then in regards to a personal experience, because I always think that it's important to be able to use a case study to just show some of the kind of concerns. Studio Lou's architects experience, it was a contract for a UMass Lowell house doctor pursuit. And typically, house doctor is an avenue in which small minority-owned businesses, vendor-owned businesses can get into getting, experience working with the Commonwealth, with DCAMM. So for the contract value that did not exceed 1.5 million, 4 firms were designated out of 26 applicants, but none that were selected were MBE or WBE as prime. And so the question is, we used to have the questions, do they exist? Do minority design firms actually exist? Are they there? Well, the history on your report actually is showing that you are getting the applicants in. So, 30% of the applicants were MBE, WBE, or VBE, and they're noted here out of the call of 26. But those that were awarded, the form that are listed here as prime, are not MBE. So, one of the feedback that, why are small house doctor contracts, such as 1.5 million, going to large size firms? In this example, it's Gensler, for example. And so in the agency comments, it was noted, that UMass Lowell did not have experience working with Studio Lou's, but we did have a sub-consultant such as Arrow Street to make sure that we were able to satisfy some of the areas that we might have not necessarily have some experience with, but overall, we were definitely the prime. And it was noted that we had larger scale type projects versus a slower, the lesser kind of 1.5 million. And there were no comments from the DSB staff. So this would be an opportunity for DSB to be advocating for the pairing. So I think one of the most important thing is to really ask ourselves, how do we begin to reframe the perception of MBE firms as secondary and not, because for some reason, as you can see in the analysis and studies, it's very minutia in terms of MBE being asked to be kind of a prime in one of the contracts. So that, I know there was a lot of information, and I'll be more than happy to share this in the public. It is already public information. I just kind of put 2 and 2 together. And I'll be more than happy to kind of answer any questions that you might have. And again, this is really putting the concerns of many minority-owned firms kind of experience, and collectively us doing the work, trying to figure out what's going on. Thank you.
Great that you compiled this information and data. We know it exists, but it doesn't